Okay, this is going to be video 2 with a lot less talking, of course, because I got to work. But I will explain things as I go along. First off, the cage that was dirty to begin with. For easy use, I enjoy using a spatula, which you can pick up at any Dollar Tree. It also works for scraping, well, poop. And there's lots of that when you're dealing with rats. Another great tool that I use if you're using bowls. Now, I suggest for folks that they feed rats overhead. See how I have a hole cut in this basket? Back in the old days, I used to do like water lines to all of them and not water bottles. I used to feed from the top so that they wouldn't poop and pee in their food dishes. Unfortunately, they do that for their own, I can't even say it, territorial. I mean, basically, they don't want other rats touching their food. And it's gross, but no matter how clean of food dishes that I give them, they always poop and pee in them. And you can see there's some remnants of some poo in there. So another good tool that I like using is a hook tool. It's a carpet tool. You can pick these up at any hardware store. Another one I like using, which I use downstairs in the basement because, again, bigger cages and stuff, I like using a spatula because it cleans and it scrapes really well. So I'm going to end up scraping this before I spray all my stuff down, including the cage and normally a top if there's a top with this cage. I'm actually pulling rats from that cage over there to here. So what I'm going to end up doing is getting a clean top from somewhere else. I'm probably just going to get a brand new one, so give me a minute. Well, anyway, everything's got to be sprayed down and scraped. I was just showing you another tool. Now, for me being in the reptile trade for so many years, I've encountered mites, well, quite a bit. But the truth of the matter is you can cut mites down quite a bit to where you don't see it because mites are actually a microbe. And you shouldn't be able to see them at all. If you see them, that means your problem's truly out of control. Now, I always check the lips of all my aquariums to make sure that I don't see any little bugs or any movement or anything, even the dust particles. If you look at it, make sure them dusts don't move. Because that dust, if it moves, is a mite. Now, people don't realize when you have mites on a cage or an aquarium similar to this, or wood, or however you're dealing with them, except for sometimes the totes like this, because totes are easy to clean. And one of the people that were giving me a hard time actually do have a pretty nice setup, and I got to commend them for that. But the real fact of the matter is I do things the old-fashioned way, and it still works for me. But the real fact of it is you have to clean them right. And under the lips of the plastic and the plastic seams that go along these aquariums, these bugs get up in there to where you can't get into it. So for me, I don't play games. I pull out my enforcer. And when I do this, I do the whole top of the cage. I get up underneath my cage lips, and I let that water seep down. You see how it's running down the cage? And I did the whole top lip right there, and it was hard to do it with the camera. Oop, I skipped a little spot. But you get up underneath that lip. And then basically you let that water run down and it runs into the second lip down below. But don't be afraid because it's just water and crap. Let that stuff fly. Now, I'm going to do the whole cage just like I did the one side. I usually do this pretty fast so you can watch me kind of rip through it. I've been doing this so long that I've got a way that I can do it so quickly, but it's so efficient and it works nice. Now, first off, you can see just on this one side alone how it's all just running down before that dry glass. I can literally, with one scoop, get it all. But I like running a second line or third line right there in the middle. And you can see that runs down, but you just keep doing it. Run it right down in there. See how that crack fills up? I also use different chemicals. I use hydrogen peroxide because that actually will get in there and clean real well. We get to the top sitting on the bottom. Same treatment, guys. Get up in there. Spray the crap out of it because the truth of it is, you never know. Now, the problem with what I'm doing is it can't be done fast. You got to let this soak for just a couple of minutes. Now, if you do this once a month, I ain't saying you got to do this as much as I do, but once a month, you actually won't have many mites at all. And if you ever see them, it's an outbreak. And, well, everybody has that once in a while. And if a rat breeder tells you that they've never seen mites around, well, then they're just lying. Because it could happen in your food. It can happen with all kinds of things. Anyway, I'm going to let this soak. And then I'll do the wipe down. So that'll be another video itself. God bless. Happy Thanksgiving. And keep watching the videos.